feels like about 10 minutes. Um, One of the most prophetic things ever said on this pod, and I don't even know that I said it, I certainly said it some of the time, was that as Bucks fans, like, our natural state is to be unhappy and sniping at each other. And therefore, the apex of following the Milwaukee Bucks online was the bad Jason Kidd years after the first year. Or perhaps even to be more specific, the time in which you know what the apex of toxic Bucks fandom was when half of the fans got something. So like when half of the fans was like Jabari isn't going to work, and then the other half were like, you got to wait, including me, of course, were like, you got to wait because the reward is far too great. And when like half of the fans were like, oh, Jason Kidd, we got some good vibes, and the other half are like, this guy sucks. And it was like people were making second and third accounts to be like, this guy is toxic. Well, why are these people so dumb that they don't see what he did on this play or that play? So welcome back. This is like, I can't tell anybody what to feel, but Never Trust the Bucks is back. Is so back. I wanted to record after the Suns game and the Nugs game, but the West Coast time zone stuff is kicking my butt. I think one game I didn't go to bed till 12:30 to get up at 5. The other one was like 1:15. Of course, in the middle of all of this, as you know, Dame has a deep bone thrombosis, halitosis, symptosis, and which basically means blood clots. And I also will confess that I went down a rabbit hole of people saying, well, that's just really EPO. This is just really blood doping. And even the rabbit hole of people being like, no, that's just COVID. That's just the vax. That's just the non-mRNA. All that stuff. I went down a rabbit hole on all this stuff. But again, that feels like Never Trust the Bucks. To me. I don't know. Again, what maybe your net ratings keep you warm at night. I don't know, but like OJ Mayo falling down the steps keeps me warm at night. Like the crazy drama of the skullduggery of all of these like stupid dudes doing stupid stuff has always been more interesting to me. I don't know what to say. And so in the middle of all of this, like, yo, congratulations. The cult of Khris Middleton is back improbably. Like, you guys, like, what would that make you? Like, the Protestants? Are you the old, maybe I shouldn't go down this road. Like, improbably, like, the engagement minors, February 5th, and it's like, I got to really let loose with a banger now. I got to really let loose with just something that's really going to, like, have this, like, I have to show, like, I have to demonstrate that I hate this trade the most, right? And so, like, I get that, right? That makes sense. That adds up. That's fandom. Then everybody should give Khris his flowers and continue to give Khris his flowers. By the way, though, didn't mean to talk about this side point to the side point. Hey, man. Where them Khris Middleton 22 tribute videos? Surely, like your cult leader demands like tribute. Where's the sacrifice? It's possible I've missed all the, like, where are the Khris Middleton videos? Maybe I should help you with this. Like, what you kind of want to do if you're going to make any kind of video is like this. Again, I'm just going to tell you my process. Your process may just be to steal a bunch of stuff from the Bucks.com or the Bucks Twitter account or whatever. But like, what you kind of want to do is you want to think, like, I'm going to be, I guess I'm being sarcastic, but I'm being like serious. Think about the tone that you want to strike. Right? Do you want, like, are you looking for irony? Are you looking for heartfelt emotional, like what's your tone that you're going for? And then do you want to kind of subvert the tone? What are you going to incorporate spoken word into it a little bit? Is there a theme? Is there a quote? Are you going to use multiple sounds? There's going to be times where you just want the soundtrack to drop out. Are you telling a story? Are you just doing greatest hits? Are you just what do you want the viewer to come away with? Right? It's not as simple as, like, again, just taking a bunch of stuff and putting it all in a loop from somebody else that you stole it from and putting, like, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. But, like, or whatever the, like, modern emotional song that the kids like is. Where are those videos at, man? Because, like, surely you guys are, like, still spending all this time thinking about it. Like, we're like you can make, there's a lot of, there's a dozen years of highlights. Like, somebody make that. Somebody get right on that. And then you want to, like, so sometimes you start in the middle. Sometimes you think, well, what would be a good one? Well, I'm going to end it with Giannis saying, Khris, remember Khris? What does he say? Remember this, Khris? And then he probably, like, this and that. Like, I feel like Giannis cursed a lot at that, at the podium and kind of messed up some of those quotes. But, you know, like, where are you going? Are you ending with that? Are you starting with that? Are you ending with a quote? Are you ending with the still shot? Like, what are you doing? But, like, where are somebody? Like, please send those to me, because y'all care so much. So here's what happened. Like, well, first of all, I will always just be transparent. The last two games and most of the Kyle Spasma era, for me, has been wonderful basketball, has been marvelous basketball. Like, you wouldn't have heard, I don't know what, like, these other people who hate basketball have been saying. All you dumb kids this whole time have been like, y'all just don't like modern basketball. We should get people out here who like basketball, and then we should get, like, our industry plants in here to just love all the games. No, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. I'm passionately rooting at 11:15 at night with my phone in the dark in bed for every play. Every play matters. The lead changes. Like, basically, the median Bucks game for most of the last 8 years has been, we're up 17-4 to start the game, or we're down 17-4 to start the game, and so everybody's going to take a bunch of, maybe the other team will miss these open threes that Brook Lopez and everybody else is giving the other team, and maybe we'll catch up, or maybe it'll just be like whatever else. But, like, I don't think there's been one game in the back channel in the group chat where people have been like, I hate this team. And a lot of the stuff since the first Butenholders of the year, we've been like, I hate this team. This team sucks. What a bunch of losers. What a bunch of cowards. We say this stuff privately, but it was like, I hate that guy. That guy couldn't care less. Well, if we get super hot, we'll win. If not, we'll lose. But what we saw with the one, like, I can't think of a better game than the Suns game, considering that we lost it. Back and forth, people making big steals, people making great plays, people screwing up, stars making shots, stars guarding each other. Like, what else? Like, seriously, what else do y'all want? I know, like, we're going to make the playoffs, so I know we want to win every game. I want to win every game. But, like, part of the thing for load management, I think a lot of times we think about it like it's affecting our team. But, like, also there was an expectation your whole life growing up that, like, the other team's best players are going to play. Oh, I get to see Dominique and Doc Rivers and Spud Webb and whoever else. Oh, the Celtics, I'm going to see, you know, Bird and McHale, or later I'm going to see Reggie Lewis, or I'm going to see D Brown, or whoever it is. But, like, okay, we're playing the Heat. There's Alonzo. You know, we're playing the Hornets. It's Alonzo and LJ, or, you know, it's Penny and Shaq. Just like every NFL game, you circle it on the calendar because you assume that, you know, if you play the Bears, their bum quarterback with the pain and nails is, like, going to be there, right? Like, you assume this kind of stuff. I was mad that we lost, but what again, it, like everything else, it hurts so good. Like, people are trying, and then those layups that Kuzma is tricking, or that KPJ, who is basically just like Brandon Jennings 2.0 off the bench. Like KPJ, let me stop right there. If you're listening to this and you're like 25, you know of Brandon Jennings as, like, a meme. Just watch KPJ. Just watch Kevin Porter Jr. It's like the exact same thing. Like, he's got such a good handle for it still to be so loose. Still do like a 8-step move. And yet then somebody will still enter into his personal space and take it. He's still like not super efficient. He's doing explosive stuff, but like you really need for him to like roll 7-7-11 a couple of times in a row for it to work out. Just a completely flawed player. I remember like we'd be rooting for Brandon Jennings, and I rooted hard for Brandon Jennings. I distinctly remember like there would be games where you would be like, Brandon Jennings is shooting 39%. I was like very invested in him getting, who's calling me? Okay, back. Where was I? Brandon Jennings. I lost my train of thought. I think what I was going to say is like there were games where like Brandon Jennings would be like 9 for 22. And I would go on my phone and figure out the percentage and be like, yeah, but that maybe still improves his 38% that he's shooting from the floor or whatever it was, right? Like I was very invested in him getting up to like 44% from the floor. Like the Khris thing is now interesting because like, again, to me, it's a very interesting internet thing where people who have all the cards still feel like they're the oppressed kind of one, or they're the one. Like, let's be honest. A small minority of people were always Khris negative, and some were doing it for memes and jokes, and some like me were like, this probably won't work. But it was like 95-5. And on the big, and you guys had all the hitters, right? You had all the big accounts. You had Matt and a name, like there's no account who could really be negative on Middleton like the whole time. So whether like you guys at this point, it's been kind of odd to me that people like, what exactly are we arguing now? So here's what happened. Like for those who, we make the Kuzma trade and everybody's like tweeting out how this is the worst thing in the world, and that's fine. And this whole emotional outburst, right? Then the Bucks go 8-2 or whatever it was, and the other two were close. And we weren't tricking off games to the Hawks the same kind of way anymore. And even the losses that we were losing were like, again, like these last two games, it's like tough losses, but not like we didn't show up kind of games anymore. They weren't embarrassing games. Because again, you can argue we were doing, and again, I seem to recall this was supposed to be the tough part of the schedule. Like this is much harder part of the schedule. So to zoom out, again, this is my take, and people are now like throwing net ratings, or we're better with him off the, like think of Kuzma like an innings eater in baseball. Like he's sucking up those innings, trying to do positive stuff, sometimes doing negative stuff, but you need somebody getting these rebounds. Brook Lopez is not going to rebound for 48 minutes, and neither is Giannis, and they're both going to take plays off, and it's designed for them not to like move their feet or whatever, all the stuff we've been fighting about this whole time. It's been positive. It is totally cool with me if you don't want to give like Kuzma, like, because we're talking about two things. We're talking about Kyle Kuzma, and then we're talking about the trade to ditch Middleton. Like, you can give Kuzma none of the credit. What do I care about that? The product on the floor has been way better, and Portis hasn't played any of this time. And like Lillard is like on his deathbed or something, right? But we're still in all of these games because like we kept saying, like certainly after 2021, but even before then, like you can only go so far with a bunch of dudes who are kind of like milking it. Remember all the conversations? I know you remember all the conversations about, is there a switch to flip? Can we just flip the switch? Can we start caring? We've been having those conversations since before Jason Kidd. Like, because Giannis is not really a leader in the same kind of conventional way. And like we've talked about this a million times. So again, there is a theory that this is all going to work out pretty well. I choose to believe in that theory because, like, honestly, because I'm like actually a Bucks fan. I'm not like faking like some of y'all. like some of y'all are Blazers fans. Some of you are Bulls. So it's like some of you guys just learned about the NBA. Like, again, there is a theory. So here's the theory of the case. The theory of the case is that Lillard isn't going to die in 2 weeks, and that Lillard comes back, and that Portis takes the mid-range shots when we need to get a bucket. We know Portis is going to be in there to take those shots, that maybe Derry Bird gets hot. But either way, the theory is that the defensive effort makes Giannis a little bit better. It certainly made Brook a lot better. And that we play more playoff basketball and we don't rely on, because again, also, the reason I have great freeness of speech on all this is because I've been telling you guys forever we should have played Khris like 22 minutes in the playoffs and that would have been great. And even you saw in this past season, before we traded Khris, it's like people were always arguing the dumb thing. We didn't play Khris that much. And then a lot of these games you look up and he was 7 for 10, right? And it was like, yeah, if he only cherry picks the shots that he wants, even as a broke down, non-defending like bum, like he could be really effective. And I was saying that in 2022. It's like, play him less, make him really get his shots. Don't like limit all that playmaking stuff. Limit that ball handling. For the love of everything that's holy, don't have him bring the ball up. That's just going to tire him out and lead to dumb outcomes. Like, we were saying all this. But we had to get, like, he's dead. I don't understand why you guys don't understand that he's dead, right? You got like a 2022, like, it's not a F-150. You got like an Audi that was in a flood and has 275,000 miles on it. And then like you traded it like for a tuner car with like bad steering that needs a lot of work. But like you traded it for like another problem. But you had to get off of your old unreliable import. You just had to. You had to trade a ticking time bomb lemon before like the Wizards figured it out. And again, you can clip this if you want. I could be wrong about this. AJ Johnson hasn't had a single game as good as like the Ryan Rollins game that nobody cared about the other night against the Nuggets. Doesn't seem like it. Like I really enjoyed that Magic Johnson fake to dunk like the rest of y'all. I think he was 5 for 14 that game. And the Wizards aren't playing for anything. But back to the message at hand. So people went crazy, and then the Bucks won a bunch of games, and then those people deleted those tweets, and then said, "Oh, I just wanted clarity" or whatever else. They deleted these high value accounts, deleted all those tweets, and then we went in a really bad stretch with Lillard gone, and Portis gone, and Giannis taking off games, and Doc Rivers being Doc Rivers. Why is I never understood why is the ire so specifically focused? And maybe it is just like the mob needs a single scapegoat to focus on, because we all remember when that single scapegoat was Drew. I am Drew. And it was like, oh, he's shooting concert dates, and all of a sudden it's always all about one person. Like, we know this year started out as the year we got to get Bobby out of here. It's always one or two people. And I guess on some level, I'm trying to impart some degree of wisdom on y'all to be like, this is all kind of invariance, and people are going to play. Like, no one's saying because Connaughton came in and played good that like all of a sudden we should be playing more Connaughton. Nah, man, nah. So the theory of the case is that Kuzma, who just got here, who doesn't fit with anybody, who, we can be honest, it's hard to fit with Giannis. It would have been hard for Jimmy Butler, who's a better player, to fit with Giannis. But he's trying to fit in. He can get to that layup whenever. It's just we're all frustrated that he doesn't make that many of them. And almost like Zach Randolph used to play like this, where it was like he didn't necessarily get to the glass, and so a lot of it he was just going to throw the ball up there and it would go in half the time, but it always seemed like it should have went in more. And again, that also reminds you of Drew, right? Like, it is what it is. But everybody's storming, and the funniest thing, everybody's storming back. This is the worst trade in Bucks history. You got a fire horse. This is the worst thing ever. And then, of course, Middleton gets hurt because he's like a 2008 Audi that's been in a flood and has some accidents damage that was never reported. And so this axle goes out and that axle goes out, and all of a sudden he's getting the work done on the knee. And it's like, dude, that guy is like, the guy you love is dead. I feel like I'm going on a lot about this, but I don't know. I mean, that's just what I think. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but that's like what I think. I think we play the Knicks tonight. Maybe we will edit this or whatever. And one more thing we should say also, I've been pretty clear throughout the years that I don't think Khris is all that good or even average in the clutch, but like sometimes he was good at the clutch. And so we will have to deal with that part of things. That now Giannis is going to lose some of those games at the end because we don't have Khris. If Khris had lost those games, nobody'd talk about it, but I digress. But we're in all these games, man. So yes, it does hurt more. I understand like people, but like we're in the end of these games. Like Gary Trent Jr. like screwing up that handoff at the end of whatever game that was. Was that the Suns game that we lost at the end? AJ colliding into Giannis. All that stuff's going to hurt more because we're playing a more defensive style. And so we're in more of those games at the end. Like we're battling now. And so our deficiencies will be exposed. But I don't think we'll have as many games where it's like, yeah, we're down 60-45. There's no way we're coming back. Hope Khris gets his numbers. Or whoever. I hope Giannis gets to 30 and 13 in this game because we're going to lose. And that was like the NBA that I got sick of watching. So, just for me, like, this is more fun. And actually, that's probably a good point to stop. I was going to do a whole thing a week ago. I suppose that's sort of evergreen on the whole travel, the 3 steps. Was it a travel on whatever that college player was that hit that buzzer beater? Because I think that ties into something kind of interesting about the ridiculousness of them calling that foul on Giannis against the Pacers at the end of that game and kind of what it says about officiating. But I think we'll probably save this for anything. I paused this and then I looked at my mentions right now and look, hey, we got more box score jockeys giving me on-off net rating stuff. We haven't even mentioned Jericho, right? We haven't mentioned Jericho. We haven't mentioned all of these guys who are out and hurt as we go on this West Coast road swing with a bad coach and everything in disarray. And we're in the game. So I have enjoyed friend of the show, Trey Crosby, seems to be at odds with friend of the show, Cool J, on this. And there's a lot of people who, like, I would generally think are the quote-unquote ball knowers who are against me on this. I have enjoyed the post-game, and it's no shade to any of the wonderful podcasts that I've enjoyed and fallen in and out of love with over the years, and certainly all the homemade ones. Just for me, though, because a lot of times, like, the reason we wanted to kind of have a voice in some of these spaces, like, number one was just COVID, but, like, number two, as much as you love Win and Six, and as much as you love Brew Hoop and Locked On, and which was the old Brew Hoop, and all of these things, great podcast, great guys, all that kind of stuff. I wanted a kind of a little bit more of a hood podcast where the hosts were yelling, like, so whatever, like, I've enjoyed, and I know a lot of you have enjoyed, the Cream City crossover, which really should be the Brew City crossover, but let's not get caught up in that. Afterwards, where the comments is just yelling at him and he's yelling in the comments and calling them retards and all this kind of stuff. And the Khris, like, again, I'm not the number one Khris hater guy because apparently those guys are. And so every episode after these games, after these hard-fought games where Kevin Durant is guarding Giannis and Giannis is guarding Kevin Durant and, like, Devin Booker hits a haymaker, like these incredible NBA games, and people are like, should have kept Khris. Like, and they're yelling at the commenters like it's the Apollo. Again, just to me, that's more my speed. No shade to anybody else, but I've kind of find a home with that, and that's actually, for me, satiated my need to say something, because what everything that everybody's saying reveals that none of you guys have ever, like, picked up a basketball or don't really understand the dynamics of, like, actually hooping and, like, working through personalities and that and whatever, right? So again, that's like an endorsement, but, like, to me, I've enjoyed that more. Or at least I enjoy that more now than Ty Windish or whoever, right? Like, that's just a different thing. And they're coming after those guys with pitchforks. And meanwhile, like, you know, and Khris is out for the year. But we're still doing this. So what I would encourage, like all like sarcasm aside, hey man, y'all try to root for the Bucks. You want to try that? It's been a while, right? Go ahead and root for the Bucks. I know Khris is gone. Go ahead, try to root for your team. try to see what is possible in all of this. And it may not work, but most years don't work at all. But I guarantee you we'll have I don't think we're going to have fake. I don't plan on coming on the mic in the playoffs and saying, boy, we lost in 6, but such and such got his numbers. I think we'll say, I can't believe how we're battling and we stole one. I expect this playoffs to feel a lot like 2022 Celtics, where while we gave our best punch, but we weren't good enough, and we can blame Portis or whoever. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. If that makes me an optimist, well, then I'm an optimist. I don't know what to tell you. There's more to say. I'm distracted because I'm reading these comments. Whatever. We'll catch up with this later, or maybe I'll put something in after the Knicks game. I don't know. Whatever. Zip it up, zip it out.